So today we are going to learn about Dynamo. So before starting, does anyone have any idea about what Dynamo is, why we are using, anything else? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, what about Mohammed and Damshil? Does anyone know what is Dynamo? Okay, let me explain. So let's begin with talking a little bit about Dynamo, what it is, how it is used, and why it makes sense for you to learn. So first, let me answer this: what is Dynamo? So in short, Dynamo is a graphical programming for the design and the BIM. It is an extremely flexible environment, presents lots of brand new opportunities for the architectures, engineers, and the construction professionals. See, working with Dynamo is most simply is like writing an algorithm. Okay, so what is an algorithm? An algorithm is a procedure or a process or a formula for solving a problem, right? Because Dynamo users or tend to be architectures, engineers, and the construction professionals. The set of problems that Dynamo is most often used to solve are for analyzing the BIM data, automating the repetitive task, which is the documentation task, and exchange information between various software platforms that don't always put together nicely. Okay, so writing an algorithm is lot like writing a recipe. Okay, so let's compare this algorithm with the coffee. Okay, so what you need to make a coffee? First you need some ingredient, right? So what are the ingredients you want? You need to take like make a coffee. You want milk, you want sugar, and you want the coffee, and you want a mug, coffee mug, right? So these are the ingredients. Then you need a list of instructions, that is how to prepare, how to process, or how to condition it. Okay, only then you will get the outcome as a coffee. Okay, so creating an algorithm is similar to making like this. So first you need some inputs, which is the ingredient. Next you need as the list of instruction, which is how to prepare it, and only then you will get the outcome. Okay, so for next time I'm just comparing this with the recipe. Okay, so now you all know how algorithm will be, right? You need some inputs, instructions, and an output. When you work in Dynamo, writing a series of instructions that the computer will follow exactly. Okay, so you need to tell Dynamo what data or information to start with, which will call the inputs of your algorithm. You also need to tell Dynamo how those pieces of information will be organized, analyzed, and how they need to get interact together in order to achieve an end result or an output. So algorithm, there are plenty of opportunities for working with algorithms in designing the BIM workflow. Okay, so for example, an algorithm might be used to inform a designer working with complex building geometry and the parts of the buildings that are overly expensive to manufacture and it needs to be resolved. Okay, so this is one. Or maybe just after starting of the project, zoning restrictions like setbacks, winds of sight, and other limitations can help to find the project zoning envelope, and you can report informations. Okay, so sometimes algorithms are written to report informations. Perhaps your script runs a test on all the windows in the Revit project to identify specifically which one have a line of sight to the nearby landmark. Okay, so these are just a few examples that are tremendous amount of possibilities. So, and another one thing is to perform a multi-step process. So algorithms are written to perform a process of multiple steps. Just a minute. Just a minute, I'm getting a call. Okay, so what was he saying? Okay, yeah, algorithms are written to perform a process of multiple steps that otherwise you would have need to perform manually. Maybe you are adding a line of text to whatever is already in the command field of the families in the Revit projects that was a specific type, or maybe you need to convert all the nodes in your drawing to uppercase, but you don't want to spend hours in your drawing just to change from lowercase to uppercase, right? So these kind of tasks can be automated using Dynamo. Okay, so why are you learning this Dynamo? So try to pay attention to the things that in your day-to-day work that could potentially be automated using Dynamo. And how is Dynamo different from coding? See, Dynamo was written for architectures, engineers, and the construction professionals. Okay, so it is intended to bring the power of writing softwares and plugins to people who haven't studied a programming language. Okay, so that you can code your own softwares. And as I said, Dynamo is a visual programming. Okay, so you are programming, but using a graphical interface instead of typing outline of code. Okay, which means you are in fact programming, but instead of typing outline of code, your algorithm is composed of a series of what the Dynamo called as nodes. Okay, so this is a brand new way of thinking for the most people in the building industry who don't have a background of programming, because you likely learning to program for the first time. So this will gonna cover a handful of basic programming concepts from the beginning of this Dynamo session. This might not be seem to be directly related to your day-to-day work, but these are important concepts that you should understand that it will make your work a greatly efficiency and the accuracy of your BIM workflow. Okay, so we have covered what is Dynamo, why we are learning, and how it is different from coding, right? And what is the advantages of using this Dynamo? As I said, programs written in Dynamo, which are called graph, can be reused from project to project. Okay, so you can invest time to develop solution that can be applied over and over again. It might take a little bit more time to build a Dynamo graph that would take you to solve the problem itself. But if this is the problem that you're going to expect to have to solve again, then you can, the next time, you can have a quick solution by reusing the old script that you have created. Okay, so you can run the same process on multiple inputs, you can automate repetitive tasks, you can test more design iteration, you can work with greater precisions, as I said, interoperability between different software platforms, etc., etc. Okay, so these are all about the Dynamo, and now let's fire up. So if you just search for Dynamo, this guy comes. So just search Dynamo Primer. Okay, so here you can see there are some useful subjects, and you can just go through all these if you want to know more about the visual programming, Dynamo, Dynamo in Action, etc., etc. So as you can see here, these kind of complex structures can be created using Dynamo. So usually you cannot create these kind of structures with the help of just the tools available in the Revit. Okay, so whatever you cannot do in Revit, that can be done in Dynamo. So all these things. So these are just an example. Okay, so now let's start. Actually, in Dynamo, we have two types of Dynamo. One is the Dynamo which comes with the Webit, and another one is called Dynamo Sandbox, that is a standalone version of Dynamo. Okay, you can just go and search for Dynamo Sandbox. So okay, so as I said, Dynamo Sandbox is a standalone version. So probably you'll be getting a separate icon for the Dynamo. Okay. The other thing that comes as a plugin in the Revit itself. So to access Dynamo, first you have to go to Manage, and here you can see there are two options. One is Dynamo and the Dynamo Player. So let's see Dynamo Player later. So first we can focus on Dynamo. So what it says, provides access to Dynamo, an open source visual programming platform for designers. Okay. So click this. Okay, so this is how the Dynamo looks like, and here you can see you can create a new one, or you can create a custom node that will show what it is, and you can just open, and here you can see some of the recent scripts that I have used. And here you can see this is a discussion forum, so it's an online portal where a set of Dynamo users share their thoughts and everything. If you have any queries regarding Dynamo, you can just put your questions here in this community, and people will help you, and you can see how to get help on Dynamo forums and etc. etc. You can also answer if you know these questions. Okay, so there is a lot of active members in this online Dynamo community. Okay, so you can use this if you want. And next is the Dynamo website that I have already showed you. If you click this, that will take you to there, and you have some reference like how getting started, and how what is Dynamo Primer, video tutorial, some basics, and the Dynamo dictionary. And it has some lots of good things that if you're as you're a fresher, you may have some questions, right? What are these and how it is used in the geometry, etc., etc. So you can use this Dynamo library to find out what it is. Okay, and next you can send some issues, and you also have some sample Dynamo scripts available here for, you can see, for the Revit, for the Dynamo Player, for import export, geometry, etc., etc. Okay, so now we can start. Okay, so once you enter into the Dynamo, this is how the Dynamo interface looks like. Okay, so, and what you're seeing here, these are all the options, and when you open this, any of this, you can see there are lots of subfolders inside, and this is the last one. Okay, so these are actually called nodes. So as I said, we are in fact programming, but instead of typing outlines of codes, we are doing programming with the help of what Dynamo called as node. Okay, so these are all the nodes. So for next time, I'll just use a basic node. You can use some mathematical operation. You can use addition. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a node to perform the addition operation. Okay, so what you're seeing the left is the input. So x is the input, y is the input, and here is a variable that is an output. Okay, so in order to perform this additional operation, you need a value for the x and the y, right? So for that, you have to bring a new node that is called numbers. You can also search here in these folders, or else you can just click here and just type. I'm just typing number, and you're getting this number node. So what it says, creates a number, right? Click this, and this is the number node. Okay, so here you can just type number. So for next one, I'm just typing 5. Okay, and if you want to bring the same node again, you can also click this, or else You can click this one, Control C and Control V in your keyboard. You can do that. Or else click this, click Shift in your keyboard and drag. Sorry, not Shift. Click Control and drag again so that you can create multiple copies of this. So there are lots of options to create all these things. Okay, and here I'm just giving 10. Okay, so now we need to connect these numbers to the X and the Y, right? So when you click this one, here you can see some wires coming from this number, right? So now connect this wire to the X. Similarly, click this and connect this wire to the Y. Okay, so now this addition operation has a value of 5, which is X value is 5 and the Y value is 10. Okay, and now we need to see the output. To see the output, there is a node called watch. Just search watch and you can see there are three options: watch, watch 3D and watch image. We are not going to display any image or 3D, so we are going to use the output of the node. Click this, connect this to this, and you can see it says the output is 15. If you change the value here, if you change the X value, the watch value is changing. If you change the Y value, the watch value is changing. Okay, so this is a simple node to perform a simple mathematical function. But you can see here, as I change these value, this watch is also changing because this program is running automatically. Here in the bottom left corner, you can see it says automatic and it says when completed, right? So when it is in automatic mode, whatever you're doing here, the program runs automatically. Once, like for example, if I'm just changing this to 60, you can see it runs automatically. But if I change this to manual, I'm changing this to 500. Now you can see 500 plus 100 is 600, but the watch wasn't updated because now the program is running in manual mode. So you have to click this run to run this program. Now I'm clicking run, and now we can see the watch is changed to 600. Okay, so two options: one is manual and automatic. When you are working for, like if you are creating a long script, it is always recommended to keep your script manual. Okay, because if you keep automatic, whatever you are doing in the background, it just runs automatically, and there's chance that your Dynamo script can get crashed and your work will be gone. So it is always good to use in manual mode, but now we are just doing some simple operations, so I'm just using automatic. Okay, so is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's see some more examples. So what if I'm just giving a float number instead of an integer? You're getting the output as a float, right? But if you want this to be a round value, there's a node for that, that is called math.round, and you can see rounds a number to the closest integral value. So click this and connect this to this and connect this to the watch here, like this. So now we can see 5.5 plus 1.6 is 7.1, but you can see the watch, it says 7, which means this math.round, it rounds the value to the nearest integer. Okay, so if it is below 7.5, it shows 7, and if it's above 7.5, it shows 8. Okay, so this is one simple operation to show you. So now we are going to look how Dynamo performs a few more mathematical functions, but output other data types instead of number. Now we gave number as an input and we got number as output, right? So now we are going to see some other functions which gives output other than numbers. So I'm just using some numbers. I'm using a less than node. So this operation, someone has unmuted your mic. Please mute yourself. Ankita, can you please mute your mic? Okay, thank you. So this, as it says, it just checks whether x less than y. Okay, so let's give 5 here, and I'm just giving 9 here. Connect to the x and connect to the y. Okay, and we want to see the output, but actually you don't need a watch node to see your output. Okay, whatever the node you are using, you can just hover over this node, and the bottom you can see the spin option. Click this. So now you can see it shows the value too, so that you no need another watch node to see your output. It shows 2, right? And here also it shows 2. So basically you don't need a watch node separately to see your output. So in this case, the order of these inputs are very important. If we do the reverse, we should see the opposite is true, right? If we do the reverse, we can see the opposite is true. Yeah. So this is a good example that taking number as the input and getting Boolean as an output. So Boolean is nothing but like choosing between a true or false. Okay, so that is called Boolean. So next we can see some other more functions, which is to create a list. So another powerful aspect of using Dynamo is the ability to perform more than just one piece of information at a time. Okay, so let's see how to generate some list here. So just search here list dot create, and there's a node to create list. So click this, and here you can see there is only a plus and a minus. So when you click this addition, you can see the list item adds on, or if you use the subtraction, the list item gets reduced. Okay, now I'm going to use some number, but actually you have some, not only this number node, you can use this number slider. Okay, so now we can use this number slider. I'll show you what these number sliders are. So these number sliders are nothing but you can just slide this so that the number gets changed. You can also set the number sliders value. If you drop this down, you have the minimum value, you have the maximum value, and you have the step value. Okay, so minimum value is 0, maximum value is 10, and you can see it is moving with the step of 0.1. If I give the step value 10, it just goes like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 in the step of 10. If I give 5, it goes in the multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, so these are the step value. So you can just customize this minimum and the maximum to how much you want. Okay, so in this case, I'm just using a 5, I'm just moving to 10. Okay, let this be 1. Okay, so now I want to create a list of these 3 numbers, but you can see there is only one input here, right? So click this 2 times. So now you get 3 items. So connect this item here, and this item here. Okay, so to watch this node, you don't need a watch. You can just hover here and you can just pin this. Okay, and now we can see we have a list of 5, 10, and 1. You can see a list 5, 10, and 1. When the data is arranged in a list, each item will come up with a number in a gray rectangle. We call it as an index. Okay, so the index is kind of like an address or an identifier for each piece of data in the list. See, in every list you ever create or work within Dynamo, the index of the first item will always be 0, and the index of each item after that will increase by 1 all the way down to the full length of the list. It probably doesn't feel natural for you to start counting with a number 0, right? But this is very, very common in computer science. See, just consider this as a rite passage to into the world of programming. Okay, so from now on, you just start counting it from 0 instead of 1. Okay, so it is also important to note that even though you were seeing these extra numbers in gray rectangle listed in front of our data, Dynamo didn't change our list in any way. The index is just a way of numbering or labeling each item in a list. So as far as we are concerned, This is just a list containing numbers. And one more thing to note about the list before we move on is that the order and the input we put in are important. See, the Dynamo assembles the items into the list in the exact order that we plug in into the input. Dynamo hasn't automatically sorted anything for us. If we want to change the order of these items, we would either need to find a node that will sort differently, or change the order, or replug into a different list create node. So next we can see some other more examples with the list create node. So those are called sequence and range. Okay, so you can just type here sequence and you get this sequence and range node. We can use the same input. So first let me explain the sequence and the range. So in the sequence, you can see we have a start value, we have the total amount, and we have a step value. But in a range, we have the start, we have the end, and the step value. Okay. So now I'm just plugging this to this. Now we can see the output. Okay. So what you're seeing here, we gave the start value as 5. So you can see the first number in our list is 5, and the amount is 10, which means from 0 to 10, you can see, which is the last index is 9, because we are starting to count from 0, which is the 10. Okay, and the step value of 1. So 5 with step value of 1 is 6, with the step value of 1 is 7, till 10. Okay, I mean the index 10. So start, the total amount, and the step value. So this is sequence. Now we are going to give the same input in the range node. Let's see how it is different from the sequence node. So in the range node, we gave the same, the start value is 5, but instead of the amount, we have given the end value here. So the end value is 10 with the step of 1. So that you can see it stops at 10 because 10 is the end value. But here it is asking the total amount. So that is the difference between sequence and range. So now we have looked at two ways of automatically generating a list of numbers. So imagine how easy it is to create a list of 100 numbers. All you need to do is tweak these parameters a little bit and it will be done for you automatically. And now compare how much time it will take to create the same list using the list create node that we saw earlier. This sequence and range node are much faster at generating list of informations. Is this clear for everyone? Creating list. Hello. Someone has left. Hello guys. If you want this session to be interactive, we can have it. If you don't want this to be interactive, I'll just go on in a full way. I'll not be asking these questions. So tell me, you want this to be interactive or shall I go in one full length? Come on guys, respond. Okay, so Danushi mic has stopped working. So what about others, Ankita and Sadiq? Come on guys, respond anything, like you want this session to be interactive or shall I go in one length? Okay, I'll go in one length. If you have questions, you can ask. Okay, so now we have covered how to create some list with the help of sequence and the range node. Next, we can see how to input these list. Okay, so we can use the sequence node to perform sequence and the range node to perform some operations. We can take this. So I'm just going to do the same operation that we saw earlier, which is the addition. So I'm just going to input the sequence to the X, and to the Y, I'm just going to add some number. Let's say we can add 8. I'm just giving this as a Y value. Now we can see the output. So what you're seeing here is that I gave this sequence, this list of numbers as an input in the X value, and I just gave a number 8 in the Y value. So what this does is 5 plus 8, 13, 6 plus 8, 14, 7 plus 8, 15. It goes on like this. Next, we can do the same less than function with the help of list. X and okay, so now what this node is doing is that it just checks whether this list is less than 8 or not. So 5 less than 8, yes, 2, 6 less than 8, 2, 7 less than 8, 2, 8 less than 8, false, and all the way down, it's false. And there's one more thing, that node is called point by coordinates. It's a very important node that we'll be learning more about this node in the future. So as you can see, when I bring this node in the background, you can see there is this gizmo is showing, right? You can see this X, Y, and Z direction is showing. So actually in Dynamo you have two working phase. Like now what you're seeing here is the 2D phase, and if you want to change to 3D, you can just enable the 3D background, and this is a 3D view. So here you can see you have this gizmo, and it is showing all these 3 directions. So as soon as I introduce this point by coordinates node, this one comes automatically. I'll just delete this. You can see this is gone. I'm bringing this point by coordinates again, and you can see this is come. Okay, so first let me explain what it is. So it is just creating a point of coordinates. Okay, so we have the X value, Y value, and Z value. And when I hover over these values, you can see it says the default value is 0, which means this node has some default value that is 0, X0, Y0, and Z0. Okay, so now I'm just going to connect this sequence to my Z value here. So you can see as soon as I connect the Z value, you can see some points are created in the Z value. Okay, so this red line represents the X, this green line represents the Y, and this blue line represents the Z axis. So X, Y, and Z axis. And you can see some points in the Z axis, right? So how these points are coming? So we have a list of numbers which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and till 14, right? I just connected this list into the Z value. So whatever the units we are using the Revit, the Dynamo uses the same unit. Okay, so you cannot change the units in Dynamo. So in this case, if we are using mm, we are having, okay, we know the bottom is 0, right? So 5 in 5 mm we are having a point, and in 6 mm we are having a point, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay, so whatever the units you are using, it just creates some points as per the at unit 5, unit 6, unit 7, unit 8 till unit 14. So this will help you in the upcoming classes because this is important, and I'm just deleting all this. Let's focus on Dynamo's string data type. Okay, so which is a computer science term for text or a string of character. Okay, so first search for string here. So this is the string node, so you can just type whatever the string you want. So I'm just typing this string. Okay, so let's say that you want to change this string to an uppercase. Okay, so for that you can just search for string dot change case. Okay, so you have two inputs. One is the string. The first input is the string. It says string to be made uppercase or lowercase. Next is a upper, and it says boolean. You can see to convert to uppercase and false to convert to lowercase, and it's a boolean, right? So just connect this to the string, and we want a boolean input here. So search for boolean. You can see selection between a true or false. So this is boolean. So connect this to this, and you can see it is still in small letter, because the option is, you can see it has a default value to convert to uppercase and false to lowercase. So you have to convert it into true. So once I convert this into true, now we can see this string is in uppercase. This is a string, right? When it is false, it will be in lowercase. And you can also replace the string if you want. So I'm just searching for string dot replace. So it just replaces the string. So we want the input as a string, so connect this to this. Okay, and search for and replace with. So first I'm copying these strings, I'm deleting this. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to search for the spaces in this string. So just click a spacebar once. Okay, and replace the spacebar with underscore. Now we can see this is the input, this is a string, right? So I just searched for the spacebar. So we have three spacebars here, right? So this space is space and space string. So we have 1, 2, and 3 spaces. So it is searching for all these spaces in this string, and it is replacing underscore wherever this space comes. So now we can see this underscore is underscore, etc., etc. Let me show you some more examples with the strings, which is string dot count occurrence. So this string is used to search for certain things in the list. Okay, list or the string. So we can say search for spacebar, and now we can see the output. It says 3 because this string has 3 spaces, right? And I'll show some more examples, which is string dot length. Connect this to the string here, and you can see the string length is 16, which means it has 16 number of characters in this sentence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, etc. And it has 16 number of characters. You can also split your string. So for that you can use string dot split. Connect this to the string here, and you need a separator to split this, so we can use the space as a separator. And now what you can see here is that the string is now created into a list, and the separator used is a space. Okay, so wherever the space comes, the next word after the space will come in the next line. So we have a space between this and is, so this space, so it comes in the next line, and next another space, then the a comes in the next line, so like that. So the so the idea of this node is to find all the places where the separate string occurs, very similar to the replace or count occurrence. Okay, so Is this clear for everyone? Using strings to do some certain task. Okay, only Danashri is responding. What about others? Everyone are having mic problem?
No, sir, it's okay.
Okay. So these techniques could also be very useful if you were importing the text format data into Dynamo, that which is extremely well organized. Maybe the data that uses a comma or a colon to separate the clusters information. Like I'm thinking in specific of a CSV format. Okay, so maybe you want to input some email address in the address book that uses a less than or greater than symbol to denote an address or an hyperlink. So as you can see, Dynamo wasn't just for numbers, that can be quite powerful in analyzing and modifying the text data from your project and your BIM models. So next I'll just show you another one example. That is one of the Dynamo's most attractive feature in Revit users is its ability to input informations from the outside of the BIM environment into the Revit project. Okay, so one of these formats and possibly one of the most common ways that architectures, engineers, and the contractors share information outside the drawing is by sharing an Excel file, right? Which is the information task that is organized in a tabular form, which is rows and columns, right? So today I'll just show you how to import some data from an Excel spreadsheet into Dynamo. Okay, so before we do that, let's take a look about the spreadsheet that we are going to import. So let's see. Okay, so this is the Excel sheet that we are going to import. Okay, so these are just a simple retail shelf. Okay, so you can see here the description, which is the shirt, pant, footwear, and the accessories, and the numbers S1 shirt 1, S2 shirt 2, P1 pant 1, and the width and the height, or which are in inches, and you have the sleeves, and these two we can delete. That I'll show later what these two are. Okay, so this is what we are going to import into Revit. So now I'm closing this. So if you first you want to import, right? So we have some Excel notes specifically to import and export. So just search for Excel dot. Okay, import Excel. Not this one. Excel dot read file. Okay, we can use this data dot import Excel. Okay, so first we want a file, right? So for that, just search for, you can also search here, like you no need to go and search here. You can just right click in the mouse and you have this searching option. You can just search for file path. Okay, so you have this browse option. So use this browse and browse to the path. where you have the Excel file. Okay, so this is a file path and this is a file, but you cannot connect this to this. The reason is here the output is a file path and here the input is a file, not a file path. Okay, so in Dynamo you cannot just connect different inputs to a different output. If you're connecting a string, the input should also be a string. You cannot just connect a string to an integer or something else. Okay, so first you want to convert this file path into a file. So we have a node called file from path. So we have the path here, so you can just connect this to this. So this path will be converted into a file. Okay, next you want the sheet name. So the sheet name here is, we can open again. Let's see what is the sheet name. Okay, in the bottom you can see the sheet name is sheet 1. Okay, so I'm closing this. So just type string and sheet 1. Okay, so these are case sensitive, so you have to type in exactly how it is with S capital and sheet and 1 without any space in between. Okay, so these are case sensitive, so you have to make sure. Okay, so this is running automatically, so that is the reason once I connected this comes automatically. You can also see when I try to connect this, Excel opens automatically because this script is running automatically. So now this is in manual mode. Now when I click this one, it should have opened. But it wasn't. I'm not sure why it wasn't opened. But in automatic it's coming. Okay, fine, no issues. So once you connect this, the Dynamo script automatically opens your Excel sheet. And you have two more options. You can just leave it because we are not going to use these. These are just to a boolean to perform the read as a string or show the Excel. Okay. So when you drop this down, you can see you have the list here. The list what you saw in the Excel sheet, everything is here. You can see the first, the number, description, width, height, and sleeves, and you have the first list S1 shirt, 36 width, 48 height, and 2 like shirt 2, P1 pant, etc. etc. You have all the list here, right? Actually, you have a list of list. You can see. And let's say that you want to separate this item, okay, because we cannot consider this as a list, right? Because these are just the headings, right? We cannot consider this as a list because these are the list. So you have to separate this first one. So we have a node to separate the first list. So that is called list dot first item. So it just extracts the first item, the list. You can see it just extract only the first item. And you also have list dot rest of items. And you get all the rest of the item except the first list. So like this, we can import Excel from outside the Revit, and you can just do some functions here. Like if you want to change anything, etc., all these things can be done here. Is this clear?
Yes.
Is this class boring or it is interesting? You guys are not responding properly, or you guys, was it boring or interesting?
Interesting it is.
Okay, so I don't want to cover much in the first day itself because some people, you may be like feel it is something different, right? So just practice what we learned today. and from tomorrow we can continue. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now, or else you can end the session today. Any questions, anyone? No questions? Okay. So just practice Dynamo and just try to do some mathematical functions like etc. etc. Okay. And let's see tomorrow. So this is Pandish signing off until we meet again next time. Thank you.